So, about a year ago, I watched a documentary called Blackfish. It was on Netflix, and it was about keeping marine mammals, mostly orcas and dolphins, in captivity, and how inhumane it is and how cruel it is to keep these animals in these fake environments and expect them to live like that. The first point I'm going to bring up is about a specific orca named Tilikum, which is the Shamu of SeaWorld right now. He has killed 3 people to this day. 2 were trainers at a different organization. I think it was called Sealand. It was out in California. He killed 2 trainers there. And the most famous one is the one that he killed at SeaWorld, which was his trainer, Dawn Brashow, which he killed her. He completely ripped her scalp off and drug her down to the bottom of the tank and then drowned her there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, what a terrible, terrible thing. Like, how could they let these whales, be around people? You should kill the whale. Okay, that's what I would think if that's the only side of the story that I heard. I'm going to tell you about some things that maybe you might not think about and might actually help you sympathize with Tilikum. Okay? So, orcas, or they're better known as killer whales, they don't breed well in captivity. They don't eat well. They just overall do not live well in captivity, okay? We're forcing these animals that have lived in the ocean to live in a fake environment that we've created for them, okay? Orcas and dolphins live in huge groups of like 40 or more. And they swim up to 80 miles a day. And they live in these pods. That's what they're called. They're called pods of, dolphins and whales that they know and that they have accepted into their group. Now, when you take them from that and put them in a shallow pool that isn't even like a mile long or a mile deep, how are they supposed to swim 80 miles a day? How are they supposed to, just be happy? Another thing is when they're put in these ponds, they put them with 1 or 2 other, whales or dolphins that they don't know. It's not their family. It's like being put in a room with somebody and saying, well, you have to live with them, even though you don't know them. It messes up their entire hierarchy of their world, and it's terrible. And another thing is, you would say, well, why do they care? They're just animals, like they don't feel anything. They don't have emotions. Well, that's wrong, because orcas and dolphins are extremely emotional marine mammals. Actually, the research shows that the part of their brain that accesses emotion is bigger than ours. So they're actually more emotional than we are, which is hard to believe because we're extremely emotional. I'll give you an example. The example is actually from the documentary Blackfish. One of the orcas actually gave birth in captivity, which is a extremely rare phenomenon that never happens. And it was an amazing thing. And this baby was born at SeaWorld. It was at SeaWorld. It was actually Tilikum's baby. And the mother, and they made it out to be this beautiful thing. And what did they do? They took the baby from the mother and sold it to another marine park, like across the country. Okay, yeah. And what does the mother do? She doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep, she doesn't do anything. She sits in a corner and just cries. Just cries. I mean, imagine being put in this habitat and being completely upset, first of all, because you're ripped away from everything that you've ever known, and then to have a baby and finally at least feel a little bit like a family, and then have that ripped away from you too. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And the people that came in to decipher what the whale was feeling, because they were like, well, she's not eating, she's not doing anything, they said she's in pain, she misses her baby, which is completely tragic. And I feel so bad for her, and it's terrible that we have put these animals through these things. So after everything that I've said, with them being emotional animals, you know, that they don't live well unless they're actually in the ocean, you know, swimming 80 miles a day, they're forced to live in these fake habitats that we've created for them. Do you really blame Tilikum for, you know, killing 3 people? What if you were put in a fake habitat, you know, a room with one other person, and you didn't want to be there? Depending on the person, I would definitely lash out. I don't know if I would kill a person, but I would definitely lash out. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I really don't blame Tilikum at all for killing his trainers. And since then, they thought that the solution to it was to keep the trainers out of the waters with them. So that's what they did. Trainers aren't allowed to be in the water with the killer whales, which I guess is one solution to keep people from killing, or to keep the killer whales from killing people. But is it really a solution at all? I strongly suggest watching the documentary Blackfish, and I am an extreme animal rights activist, and I will do anything to get SeaWorld, the circus, or any other kind of place that keeps marine mammals or any other kind of mammals in captivity to just cease to exist altogether. And there's plenty of petitions out there that you could sign to, you know, stop this, and there's plenty of ways to donate money. One of my favorite organizations is Sea Shepherds, which it's actually illegal in the United States right now to get dolphins and killer whales from U.S. waters, but they're still allowed to go overseas and get them, and that's what the Sea Shepherds do. They keep them from getting them overseas. So that's one of my favorite organizations to donate to. And I guess just keep in mind the kind of things that these animals do go through the next time that you go to the zoo or you go to SeaWorld. I could never go to one of those places and just think anything but sick thoughts. So next time you're at the zoo, just put yourself in their shoes and think, man, would I really want to live like this? And your answer is going to be no, but just try. Before you start giving your money to these organizations, just think about how the animals feel.